Fill her up.
You're listening to the Gas Digital Network.
Conceive, believe, achieve. Shut the f*** up.
And new undisputed UFC middleweight champion of the world, Michael the Count Bisping.
This is Believe You Me on the Gas Digital Network.
Woo! Live on a Thursday night, it's Harrington with the Count, Michael Bisping. Michael, how you doing, buddy?
I have never seen you so excited, so happy to be here, a part of this show. You're in the driver's seat. You're in the hot seat. You've already been slagging off Lewis. I mean, off-air, Lewis, when you hear this, he was talking a lot of smack. He was saying a lot of things, a lot of which I don't think you'd appreciate, Lewis. But why isn't Lewis here? I mean, break it down for the fans. I mean, just how badly did he let us all down tonight?
Well, to be fair, I mean, we're here a little bit later than we normally are, Brian and I. It's 9:30 at night on the East Coast here, and we were holding the show because Lewis had to do a father-son, back to school, right? Back to school, parent-teacher. You know all about that, Mike. And like a good father, he was there for James's school. Then he was going to do the show from his home. Then we got a text about 20 minutes ago. He couldn't find his charger. You and me flying solo. So that's the timeline up to date as I have it. And
well, I mean, I get it. It's frustrating. It's late. It's a Tuesday night. It's New York City. But Harrington, he's a father. He's a father. He has obligations to his son. That is his flesh and blood, his DNA. That is him embodied in another person. You expect him to shirk his responsibilities just so you aren't, inconvenienced. I mean, I know you got a very, very packed social schedule. You and Brian, I mean, no doubt you've got a plethora of women, ladies, maybe some guys. I mean, whatever you're into, right? It's 2019. Good for you. More power to you. You just be you. We know you got a packed social schedule, but what? It's too much to squeeze an hour in to talk to myself?
Well, no, for me, it's never an inconvenience to talk to a former UFC middleweight champion and Michael Bisping. Luis J. Gomez, it feels like, if he can make it, he can make it. And it's nice, but if not, it is what it is.
Well, to be honest, I was actually kind of glad. Not glad, I mean, because obviously, it's always fun when Luis is on the show. But I was glad that for once it was him that was having to cancel or whatever, because I travel a lot, and a lot of the time I'm on the road and I can't find this, I can't find my microphone, or I haven't packed a microphone, I haven't got lights, perhaps I haven't got the charger. So this just buys me a little bit of leeway for next time it happens. So Lewis, you're at home right now and having fun with James, shirking your responsibility. I hope you're having a good time. What is going on in the world, Harrington? What is going on?
Well, not too much. I am honestly shocked that I made it. This is the first time I have braved the public since the amazing bachelor party that Lewis planned on Tuesday night. And I'm not going to get into too many details, but let me just tell you, I've been recovering ever since. He knows how to throw a hell of a party.
So this is NSFW, not safe for work material, because when we did the show say again?
It's a big old circle of trust. That's where I'm living.
Big old circle of trust. Okay. No, because on Monday when we did the show, I said, okay, let's do another one on Wednesday. And he said, we've got Zach's bachelor party. I don't think Wednesday is going to happen. I don't think I'm going to be doing the Real Ass podcast or Legion of Skanks or whatever it was. One of the many shows that Lewis does. He says, yeah, I don't even think that I'll make that. And then I did see an Instagram post on Wednesday, and I did the math with the time difference. It was like 7 o'clock in the morning, and him and Zach still going strong, purely just alcohol, I'm sure. But please, without getting yourself arrested, let us in on a little bit of the debauchery.
Well, I mean, I'll tell you this. From my perspective, I showed up early. I had another show to produce on Tuesday Night Comedy Fight Club, so I showed up early. I set everything up for Zach. I wanted to make sure that, Lewis asked me to do this, and, anything I can do to help out Zach, good friend, to have an amazing bachelor party, obviously. Congratulations to you on getting married, by the way, Zach. So I showed up. It looked immaculate, amazing party. When I showed up about 5 hours later, it was a completely different scene. And I will tell you that I was one of the guys who was still raging at 7 a.m. Lewis, me, and a couple other guys got the continental breakfast at the hotel before parting ways that morning. So,
and how was the party? I'm sure you had a great time, but I mean, if you were to rate it from 1 to 10, because often, I find that the unplanned nights out, they always go better. When you build it up and you get with your boys and you say, okay, in a few weeks we're going to do this, we're going to do that, and you plan it all. Sometimes it's kind of an anticlimax. Whereas the ones that are just off the cuff and you end up, in fact, off the cuff, let's be honest. I'm talking about when I was younger. I'd go to the pub for 2 beers, and my wife would say, okay, when are you coming home? I'd be like, I'll be home at 6, and then I'll be home at 7, I'll be home at 8, and then it'd just be, I'm not going to answer the phone anymore. The next minute you're stumbling in at 5 o'clock in the morning and my bags are packed. Do you know what I mean? They're normally the better nights. So on a scale of 1 to 10, how did it go down?
I mean, this was one of the rare occasions where the build-up lived up to it. The hype really came through. I would say it was a 9.5. Very, very hard to make this an even better night. Lewis, like I said, plans a hell of a bachelor party. So if you are thinking about, ever renewing the vows and you need a best man for the bachelor party, I'd recommend Luis J. Gomez.
Never in a million years. I mean, listen, love Lewis. Great guy. Lot of fun. There's no way he's been the best man at my wedding. Bachelor party all day. He can be the best man at the bachelor party. He can organize said party. But best man duties on stage, handing wedding rings over? No, I don't think so. So what do you do? Talk me through the night. As I say, not safe for work details, leave those out. But how did the night start? And just guide me through what you can.
Well, like I said, I was busy at a show, but I knew the boys did go out to a nice steakhouse. Very classic,
very civilized. Okay, this is getting off to a good start. I was hoping you would say starting off with a nice dinner. I like to do dinner these days, but my friends back in Clitheroe, when I go home, if I suggest when the boys get together to go out for dinner, they look at me like I have some kind of infectious disease. They're like, are you fucking serious? We're going to go drinking. I'm like, no, but we got to eat first. Let's have a nice dinner, like gentlemen, drink some wine or whatever, have some nice food, have some good conversation, have a laugh, get a little rowdy by the end of the meal, and then move on. But so carry on. So you started off, you went to a nice steakhouse.
Yeah, so I mean, steaks were by all accounts incredible. And then I don't know, I can't fill in the timeline because I wasn't there from the hours of 8 p.m. to like 1 a.m. But there was they got a private party function, which I think is the way to go for something like that. You get your own space where you can do whatever you want, kind of, like your own little like area where laws don't exist anymore, and then from there, do what you're gonna do.
Prime question.
Sure.
And I think this is okay. You're not a married man. I wasn't there, right? Lewis is young, free, and single these days. When you say private area, are you talking private area at a restaurant? Are you talking private area at some fine establishment with upscale drinks? Or are you talking private area at a strip club?
I see. Now that's where it gets interesting, right? If you go and get your own space, right? Like your own, like a room, I don't know, 3 times the size of this studio, right? And it's anything you want it to be. You put a couple of boom boxes in there, some lights. It's your own club for, come as you may. You get what I'm saying?
Hold on. So what you're saying is you went to some derelict, abandoned bedsit. You got a couple of fucking speakers and an iPhone and a dongle, plugged it in, got a couple of flashing lights, and that's your private booth. Because you said a minute ago we got a private area. Then you preemptively say, I mean, listen, any area you get, you could have put a couple of speakers in there and it becomes your private area. Where was the private area, Harrington?
It was in a very industrial district in some really weird derelict warehouse, but it was pretty fucking fun, Mike. That's all I'm going to say.
No, it sounds cool. It sounds very cool. How many people?
I think when I got there was like maybe 30 guys there. I think it got up to maybe like 35 at one point. It was a big party.
Oh, wow. That's really cool. All right. Awesome. I look forward to hearing the real details off air, maybe off Lewis. Maybe on Monday you can tell us, because Lewis doesn't care. I know you in circle of trust, all that. I know you don't want to divulge. You don't want to break the circle. You don't want to tell tales out of school. But Lewis, he doesn't care. So I'm sure on Monday we'll hear more details. Seems to be in the world of mixed martial arts, always a lot going on. I had a couple of fun discussions I wanted to talk about today, but we'll save those for Monday. And we'll just get into all the MMA stuff. Justin Gaethje taking on Cowboy Cerrone this weekend in Vancouver. But before we get into that fight card, we break that fight down and maybe the co-main event and some of the others. We'll broach some of the news that's happening in mixed martial arts right now. Where do you want to start, Harrington? I know you've got them written down. I know the one that's grabbing most of the headlines is the Masvidal, Poirier, Covington, Usman, Woodley, love quintuplet. I was going to say love triangle, but then it carried on. It's a love hexagon. Hold on, 2 more people. We have an octagon of love.
All right, so Kamaru Usman's in there, and the winner of Gaethje versus Cowboy. We got 6 there.
2, okay. Connor's in there. No. We're talking welterweights, Harrington. Keep up.
I'm telling you, man. You don't think that those guys could move up to welterweight to fight Conor McGregor? I'm saying once his name comes in there, everything linked to Conor McGregor also comes in there. So it's a massive triumvirate.
Well, whoa. Who's ate a thesaurus this morning? A triumvirate? What the hell is a triumvirate? I've honestly never heard that word in my life.
I'm looking it up right now. It is a thing in ancient room. A group
Triumvirate means 3.
Fuck.
Yeah, I was gonna say tri. A love triangle. Tri is generally 3. Bi is 2. Quad is 4. Quint maybe 5, and 6 is oct. No, oct is 8. Sept. Hex.
Hex is 6.
Yeah.
Sept is 7.
7. And dodecahedron is an object with 10 sides. There you go, doggy. We got this. But when you come straight in with the try, I'm like, hold on a minute. What is this word Harrington's been eating? Okay, where should we start? I mean, listen, you mentioned McGregor there off the top. Justin Gaethje, he is spitting fire, but we'll save that. He's been talking a lot of shit about McGregor. I think we touched on it last episode slightly because Gaethje did send out a tweet. But let's get into this love dodecahedron that we have going on with Poirier and Masvidal. What's going on with Masvidal, Harrington? Come on, break it down.
Well, Jorge Masvidal went on to the Dan Le Batard show yesterday, which is one of the biggest programs on ESPN. It's also a Miami-based show, so obviously that's going to fall in very nicely to Masvidal's whole brand. And he was able to speak a little bit candidly, a little bit off the cuff with some people who he obviously feels comfortable with. And I think we have a clip, Brian, if you want to bring that up.
So I don't know what you make of Colby Covington. He is someone who enjoys being a bit of a professional wrestling heel. We want to play some sound for you here that he delivered, and we want to get the reaction from Jorge Masvidal. This is about you, by the way.
All he cares about is himself. That's all Jorge is a guy that cares for himself. He doesn't care for others, and he doesn't care for anybody unless they can do something for him. And I'm not that guy. I'm not going to always just do stuff for you and then be taken for granted. So, now I passed him up. I'm making more money than him. I'm banging harder chicks than him. I'm doing better than life, and he's just a jealous little.
That's from the Ariel Helwani show. Had you heard that before?
Now I heard the full clip. I had gotten like bits and pieces of it from like friends and text messages. And then I heard a soundbite as well before that one. And he was talking about how the sport is selfish. How he's in it for himself, how he's got no friends, and that's why he trashed another one of our teammates, Dustin Poirier, before his fight, So him saying that stuff about me is like contradicting that, but you just said that's okay because we're in an individual sport. And that's not true. Also, he ripped off my coach. It was his coach. We were with him till his title fight. After he won the title, he owed him a certain amount of money. Didn't pay him. I said, if you don't pay him, I'm going to F you up. My coach got in between it. Doesn't have to be like this. Let it slide, blah, blah, blah. Since then, I ain't talked to the dude. It's been about, I don't know when he won the title, a year and some change. And it is what it is, man. All these words, they do have consequences with me because this guy used to sleep in my couch. He used to eat off me because I was the ones with the sponsors. He was just still relatively an amateur, and I was helping this guy out. So it hurts that he would do that in a way just for a like on Facebook, just for a retweet on Twitter. He's doing that to do this to get me and you to talk about him. But it's happened already, and I'm from Miami, so I can't let my city down. I can't let this punk come in here talking. He'll be in the gym. I'll walk in the gym. Guess who leaves right away through the back door? Take a wild guess, everybody.
All right, okay.
Well, what happened, though? What happened?
So, some explosive stuff there. I mean, it is weird because I never knew that they were good friends. I weren't sure how close they were, but after, all this beef, for want of a better word, has kicked off, there has been videos shown of the two of them living in a house together, having chicks over and all this type of stuff. And then, of course, Masvidal even throws more shit, saying that he didn't pay his coach and all the rest of it. And now, of course, Covington's talking all this smack about, Masvidal and stuff. Yeah, man. I mean, it seems that Covington is doing a really good job of pissing off everybody closest to him. I mean, let's remember, it wasn't that long ago he went and confronted Dana White in a casino with the camera crew as well. That didn't go down too well, and he piped down quickly. Listen, Covington, I by all accounts, it's an act. Everybody tells me, and from what I hear, that it's not him. And he wasn't doing too well. He wasn't getting noticed. He was winning fights, but people didn't really give a shit. So he went down the Chael Sonnen route, okay? He started wearing the MAGA hat and all this type of stuff and talking shit. And he's done a good job. We're talking about him now. We were talking about him on Monday. He's certainly piercing into the MMA universe. People are talking about him. He's getting headlines, but he seems to be pissing everybody off. And in mixed martial arts, you want friends, you need training partners, you need coaches, you need all that type of stuff. And if you're not paying coaches and you're pissing off all your best teammates, I don't know, it's not the smart thing to do. And certainly with Masvidal, I know myself with the run-ins that I had with him. Listen, the man is what he is. He will fight. So I reckon Covington's going to slip out the back door. Dustin Poirier on Twitter a couple of days ago also said when he sees Colby Covington, it's on site. So I don't know. I think they got a real headache down at American Top Team, because you can't have that. You can't have Poirier, Masvidal, and Covington all fighting. Well, Masvidal and Poirier basically beating up Covington. Although I would like to see that. That would be the best pay-per-view that the UFC could put on this year. Now, I'm not knocking any of the upcoming fights, and I'm being a bit silly, but I'm telling you, I will fly to Florida, pay for my own ticket just to see Masvidal and Poirier beat the shit out of Covington. UFC should set that up in a fucking heartbeat, because I'm in, baby boy.
As much as Dana hates Colby right now for fucking about his plans and everything, I think that's a fight he could book, And if Colby thinks he can get a title out of it, he'll have to take it.
I don't. Sorry, go ahead.
I did want to ask you about that. Have you ever been in a situation in any of the gyms you've been in where there's clearly a lot of beef between one of the fighters who's coming in and a lot of the guys who they're supposed to be teammates? And how does something like that get resolved? Because I know there's been some high profile ones in the past before. Robbie Lawler versus Tyron Woodley, talking about who's real AT&T. I think it was Rampage and John Jones back in the day, or Rashad and John Jones.
Yeah, Rashad and John Jones. Yeah, no, don't apologize. I'm trying to think of one now. I mean, for me, not so much. I mean, I was with the gym out of Liverpool for a while that shall remain nameless. And there was all kinds of scenarios going on down there. You know what I mean? There was a lot of stuff. But since then, I just kind of always did my own thing. So I never really got tied in with any other gyms. That one gym put a bad taste in my mouth. So I just did my own thing, and I brought in my own training partner. So no, unfortunately, I haven't got any similar stories. All right, guys, let's just take a quick second to hear from Blue Chew. Listen, we all like sex, okay? And why not have a better experience? If you like sex, you're going to enjoy BlueChew.com. Blue Chew offers a performance enhancement for the bedroom. Come on. Everybody would like to go a few extra rounds. At BlueChew.com, you can get the first chewables with the same active ingredient as Viagra and Cialis. Chewables can work faster than pills, up to twice as fast, and you can take them on a full or an empty stomach. The online physician consult is free, so it's cheaper than the other two, Viagra and Cialis, and it only takes a few minutes to connect you with a BlueChew.com affiliated physician, and if you qualify, you get prescribed online almost immediately. So, no in-person doctor visit, no awkward conversation, no waiting in line at the pharmacy, and Blue Chew ships directly to your door in discreet packaging. Now, Harrington, I know, listen, this is a big problem in your life. You're out there, you're slaying the vag, okay? You're taking girls down left, right, and center, but you couldn't get it done, right? You weren't pleasing them. You just, whatever it was, they felt unsatisfied when they left your room, okay? When they left your shack, when they left that moldy mattress in the industrial unit, they weren't happy until you tried Blue Chew, correct?
Well, Mike, like you said, it was a problem. Not anymore. As I got blue raspberry candy that gets me going. I got the Viagra type that's going to get me it's like NOS, right? You hit that, it gives you that extra power. And then you got the Cialis type where if you want to go a couple extra rounds, you want to make it a real long night. Maybe get 3 sessions in that night. Right? Chew on that guy.
Whoa.
Either one, very tasty, goes down like candy. Clearly, I love candy. So I was attracted to the product in the first place. And it works. You last longer. You go a couple extra rounds. And it's like, there's no other way to describe it. You're 19 again. It's incredible.
Yeah, I mean, the one thing I did pick up on is that you said you could chew on that guy verbatim. That's what you said. I don't want to know what you did at the bloody the bachelor party or the stag do, as we say in England. But listen, if you want to chew on a guy, you want to chew it and do it, go ahead and do it. And we got a great deal for you. Visit bluechew.com. You get your first order for free when you use the promo code BELIEVE. Just pay $5 shipping. That's bluechew.com, BLUE, chew.com, promo code BELIEVE, right? Have fun with your man. Have fun with your woman, with your boyfriend, your girlfriend, whatever you want to do. Chew it and do it. bluechew.com, promo code BELIEVE. All right, where were we? What else have we got? What else is going on? There's some more details to that, I'm sure. There's something we're missing. Is there?
With Colby versus Masvidal?
Yeah, I've seen two. Oh, well,
I'm very confused by what Colby was saying, that he's making more money and banging hotter chicks and this, that, and the other thing. I mean, from what I'm hearing, Jorge Masvidal, was offered the welterweight title fight against Kamaru Usman. At the same time, he was offered the BMF title fight against Nate Diaz, and he chose to take the Nate Diaz fight. I mean, obviously, Usman's a fight that Colby's been campaigning for quite some time. And also, apparently, Masvidal is going to be getting pay-per-view points for the first time in his career for this Diaz fight. As far as I know, Colby's never gotten pay-per-view for a fight. So are we really in a situation where any of what Colby's saying is true, or is it all just hot air?
Yeah, well, listen, I certainly think there's a lot of promotion, hype, all the rest of it. And when people are doing that, they're not necessarily telling the truth. Covington, I mean, why do you say he's never had pay-per-view points? Are you assuming that?
Well, I mean, his only fight where he became a champion was the RDA fight. But yep. I mean, as far as I understand, when neither one has the title, nobody gets pay-per-view points. He's never defended said interim title. His last fight against Robbie Lawler was on ESPN. It was like an ESPN Plus card, so there's no pay-per-view to be had there. So, I mean, in your dealings with the UFC, have you ever seen anyone get pay-per-view points when fighting for a title?
So, yeah, no, you bring up a good point there. And so I would echo your sentiment and say more than likely he's probably never had pay-per-view points. I did see that he went on that whole tirade of abuse, didn't he, about the UFC and how the UFC came to him. They made him an offer. They said, this is the offer. And by the way, I'm quoting Covington here. I'm not saying this is what happened for anyone listening. Certainly anybody from the UFC. I'm quoting what Covington said in many interviews. He said, UFC gave him an offer and they were like, here's their offer. Take it or leave it. Okay, and he was getting, he said it was the standard challenger offer. Right. Listen, at the end of the day, you signed a contract. You sign a contract, and in that contract, it will have stipulations as to whether or not you fight for the belt. Now, there's always room to negotiate. Now, when I fought for the belt against Luke Rockhold, it was on short notice. Now, I did have a stipulation if I fought for the belt in my contract. I was able to negotiate a better deal. But I'd also been with the UFC for years and years and years and years and years, and I was saving a fight card on 2 weeks' notice when I hadn't even been in the gym. So, there was that. Generally, you don't get pay-per-view points as a challenger. There is exceptions to the rule, and sometimes if it's a big fight, you will get pay-per-view points like Nate Diaz. I don't know this, but I'm going to assume, and again, I could be wrong, but I'm assuming he got pay-per-view points for the fight card in Anaheim when he fought Anthony Pettis, right? One would lead me to believe because Diaz has always been, he wants his worth, he wants his money. For that second Conor fight, he got paid really well. So I would assume that he got pay-per-view points. Now, of course, Masvidal's getting it as well. So it's not surprising. If I'm Masvidal, I'm going to take the fight against, I'm losing myself. I'm going to take the fight against Diaz over Kamaru Usman. No disrespect to Kamaru Usman. Hell of a fighter. Great champion. Very, very nice person. But I think it's fair to say he doesn't move the needle like Nate Diaz, right? And we all get into this game for money. That's why we do it. Yes, there's other reasons. We're martial artists, we're fighters, whatever. But we're doing it because we're trying to set ourselves up. And you want the biggest fight, the biggest attention, and the most money. And Nate Diaz, if you're getting a piece of the pie, that's it all day. And I see that Tyron Woodley piped up to Usman now saying, let's run it back.
Interesting.
Yeah. Saying, let's run it back. And then Usman was like, I just beat the greatest welterweight of all time. And there was a picture of him beating Woodley. And then on Twitter, there was hundreds of people saying, I think you're getting Woodley confused with GSP and all this. So there's a little bit of drama going on, a little bit of, it's all rather childish. These guys need to figure it out and get their shit together.
Well, I've been dying to see Usman fight Covington. Going back to hammer fisting in 2017, I was calling for this fight because they do have such a similar style. They're grinded out wrestlers who have, good, if not great stand up. And they're going to be imposing nightmares to anybody who, like we saw in the Woodley fight. If Usman's able to get you against the cage, he can sap your will. Very similar to the way Khabib does it. Those two fight very similar, if not very exciting fights. So it does make sense to match those two up. And in my mind right now, with the addition of Nate Diaz and so many fun welterweights at the top of the bill there, we just had another one, Vincente Luque versus Wonderboy Thompson book. There's so many kind of like on that... kind of like we saw in lightweight a few years ago when like Gaetjhe was fighting Alvarez and then those guys were fighting Poirier. Like that was almost its own belt, while on the left-hand side, McGregor was trying to figure out coming back for the belt and all that nonsense, holding up the actual belt. There was always exciting fights to make in that division that were moving the needle. We're starting to see that at welterweight, right?
Yeah, absolutely. And I was just thinking as you were saying there, I can't believe, and again, I'm not trying to talk shit about Colby Covington. I'm not. I'm just looking at it from my mindset when I was a fighter. Here's Colby Covington. He wants to be champion of the world. He walks around. He says, I'm a belt. That's why he didn't want the challenger's purse. He said, no, I'm a champion. I won the interim belt. Listen, I see your point, but everybody knows you were stripped. So just let it go. You're not introduced as the interim champion anymore. He wants to be world champion. This is 2 world title fights that he's turned down now. It's crazy because he was supposed to fight Woodley. Was it Woodley when he beat Dos Anjos? Yeah. And he said he was injured, right? I forget what the injury was, but he said he had one.
So as far as I know, he got that, it's that topic surgery where they take like a balloon and just open up your nasal passages. Cody Garbrandt talked about getting that while he was in training camp to fight TJ Dillashaw and not missing a beat. And that's what Colby was unable to fight Woodley over.
So there's that. And then now here we are. He just has a great performance against Robbie Lawler. As I said, for all whatever you want to say, you can't deny the man's skill and ability, right? He pushes a crazy pace. He's a great fighter. Destroys Robbie Lawler, right? Total one-sided fight. Then he gets what he wanted. He's wanted to fight for the belt for so long. Turned it down once already. Gets in the position again. And now he turns it down again for money. I mean, listen, I can see his point a little bit. We all want more money. We all want to be compensated better, right? Everybody thinks they deserve more money. I understand that side of the equation. But if he truly believes he can win the fight, then just take the fucking fight. Take the fight. Become the champion of the world, right? Make history. Be able to sit there at home and know you got to the top of the mountain. You became champion of the world. For some people, that's worth more than the money. For me, I always wanted to fight for the belt. And I always, I got stepped by or I lost a couple of fights here and there, but I always wanted to fight for the belt. And it pissed me off that I never got that shot. So I just don't believe, I can't believe that he's doing this. It's crazy. I don't know what his reasoning is, but maybe it's because, as you said, I don't know. He's scared of Usman. I don't mean scared. Maybe he's afraid that he doesn't match up too well. And listen, once Covington loses, boom, the air's out the tires. The persona's done. You know what I mean? You're over. Simple as that. Back to the drawing board. So maybe that's what's going on.
So you don't think, and like this is obviously me playing devil's advocate here, but like Chael Sonnen, obviously he had the big loss against Anderson Silva. The second pay-per-view did bigger numbers, and everybody knew how that was going to end. You know what I mean? It's like, to me, is he really in a position where one loss is going to kill him?
No, he's not in a position where one loss will kill him. But remember the Chael Sonnen fight against Anderson Silva. That first fight, Chael destroyed him for 4 3/4 rounds. It wasn't even a fight. It was totally one-sided. And Anderson, being the great champion that he was, pulls out the triangle at the last minute. So that, number one, that said to everybody, geez, I want to see that rematch. And secondly, the UFC were going to give him that rematch, and it made the fight even bigger. And then, of course, Chael went on that tirade of abuse, slapping his ass, feeding bananas to buses, all the rest of it, just shitting all over Brazil, which was absolutely hilarious. I apologize to all you Brazilians. But yeah, so it's a little different. No, I don't think that one loss destroys it and ends his career, but it definitely lets a lot of steam out of the tires. You mentioned the fight before. Who's moving up to middleweight? You mentioned it a moment ago.
Let's see. We have Jacare is moving up to light heavyweight to fight. I just had a second. Jan Blachowicz, the guy who welcomed Luke Rockhold to the division just a few months ago.
Isn't it crazy? So many people moving up in weight class now. So who's gone up? So we've got Anthony Smith. Right. We've got Jacare now, Chris Weidman, Luke Rockhold.
And former title challenger Thiago Santos was a middleweight 3 months ago or 6 months ago, something like that.
Yeah, that's right. I truly believe that everybody needs to move up a weight class. I think maybe bring in a 195 weight class. So you got 55, 65, 75, 85, 95, 205. And then maybe a cruiserweight at 225 and then a 265. I truly believe everyone should move up. We're seeing better performances. Look at Daniel Cormier when he went up a weight class, knocked out Stipe in one punch. People generally have more power and they can take a punch better. Look at TJ Dillashaw when he went down against King of Cringe. He couldn't take a shot because he drained himself so much to make weight. So I think that's a smart move on behalf of Jacare. Jacare is a big middleweight. He's a big middleweight. And he's been around for a while. And he's been in some wars. Was his last fight the one against Kelvin Gastelum? Was that his last fight or not?
No, his last fight was in April of this year against Jack Hermansson at UFC Sunrise.
That's right, and he lost that fight. It was a great performance by Hermansson. That's right. I worked that fight. I should have remembered that. But
star-making performance by Hermansson. I mean, it's a situation where Jacare was forced to take the fight on very short notice with a bunch of different opponent changes, and he was guaranteed a title shot off of a win there. So my question is, with the move up to light heavyweight, now fighting Jan Blachowicz, who a lot of people thought was next in line for John Jones, with a win or two at light heavyweight, could we see him possibly fighting John Jones?
Jacare? Yes. I mean, let's just have a look. I'm just looking at the UFC rankings here because I was I am listening to what you're saying. I'm just looking at the rankings here. But, I mean, here's the thing. Middleweight is going to be wide open now. I mean, that's the first thing that springs to my mind. I mean, don't get me wrong. Robert Whittaker, tremendous champion. Adesanya, the guy is 100% legit, and I can't wait for that title fight. But outside of those two, I mean, who the bloody hell is left at middleweight now? Because all the stars are moving up a weight class.
Well, some of the older stars are, but we do have some young up-and-comers at middleweight now. Obviously, Paulo Costa with that incredible performance against Yoel Romero. You have to assume Romero's got to be the next one moving up, right? I mean, he looks like he can barely make 185 every time.
Yeah, for sure. I mean, Romero, I don't think so. I think at his age, and he's been doing it for so long, he'll probably stay there. Yeah. But yeah, you're right. At middleweight, you got Robert Whittaker, Adesanya at 1, Paulo Costa, he's awesome. Yoel Romero, fantastic. And Gastelum and Jack Hermansson. That's good. Then you got Ronaldo. You got no joke at all. Then you got Jacare, he's moving up. Weidman, he's moving up. Derek Brunson, no disrespect, but he ain't gonna do it. Jared Cannonier, he's very, very good prospect. And then you start getting into Uriah Halls, your Brad Tavares. So it's a very different landscape to what it was years ago. Now, light heavyweight, John Jones, Cormier still at number 1. That shouldn't be there. Thiago Santos, Anthony Smith, Dominic Reyes, Jan Blachowicz. I mean, Alexander Gustafsson, I think he's coming back. They're talking about him fighting Rockhold. Volkan Oezdemir, Glover Teixeira. I mean, there's Johnny Walker, Leo Latifi, Nikita Krylov, Shogun still in there as well. I mean, for Jacare, there's a lot of big names there. There's a lot of tough fights for him to have. Same for Weidman. Who's Weidman fighting? He's got to fight at MSG, right?
No, he's fighting in Boston. He's headlining the Boston card against Dominic Reyes.
Again, a tough fight for Chris Weidman there. Tough fight for Reyes as well. Yeah, tough fight. Very, very good fight. Yeah, I mean, I'm excited for that. Listen, I like Jacare. Jacare is a great guy. Me and him talked a bit of shit to each other here and there, but just in the spirit of competitors, same weight division. Look at Harrington pulling a bloody Lewis. I saw he's looking for the audio listeners. He's tapping on the window. He's manically, pardon me, swinging around a coffee cup. Nobody answered initially. He rolled his eyes. The look of frustration. Look at the look on the face now. Trying to defend yourself. What have you got to say, Harrington?
I'm red in the face, embarrassed. You didn't need to call me out on that one. No, I feel terrible asking Brian to get me a glass of water, but I don't also, like, I've been admonished a number of times in this program for having cotton mouth, and I just don't want to deal with that.
By Lewis.
Yeah.
Not by me.
Well,
I would never do such a thing. I'm a level-headed, calm, kind, nurturing individual.
I'll just hear it from the comment section, and I read those and feel bad because I don't have a world title to keep me warm at night.
Oh, that's great. That's great. All right. So we've got that. And then Wonderboy, he's coming back soon. I'm just looking at the notes you sent me. Yeah, by the way, you do a good job, Harrington. You do a good job with the notes. You do go into detail. You do keep trying to throw in Paige Van Zandt and Macy Barber in there, which I don't like.
We weren't
but other
talking
than
about
that,
Mike. I thought we weren't talking about that.
We are not. I'm just mentioning it. We're talking about the fact you keep putting it in the notes. I mean, how many strippers were at the bloody place? That's what everybody wants to know. Okay, what happened in the industrial unit? I'm trying to talk about the fights. I'm trying to focus on it. But I know you guys had a crazy night. Listen, pull back the curtain, spill the beans. Tell me what went down.
All right, I'll give you two guesses. If you guess the number, I'll give you the yes or no.
Okay. 2 guesses. All right. Yeah. How many people? 35?
Yeah.
Oh, God. And successful people, a mixture, down and out. So, I mean, who was there?
Mike, I was there.
Yeah. Was Ralph
everything
there?
You need to know. For a bit. He got out of there quickly.
See, that's a good sign for Ralph. It shows the kind of, debauchery that was happening. I'm going to, 35 people. I'm going to say there was 5.
No.
Higher or lower?
I don't have to tell you that. It was just yes or no. I want to hear how much faith you have in 35 guys to stay entertained for a few hours.
Higher or lower?
Higher.
I'm not. Stop. Oh, higher? You serious? Jesus Christ! I was going to go in with a 2. Higher. Jesus Christ! What kind of sex orgy are you guys running down there? All right. 8.
I think it was about 8. I think that was the exact number. Yeah. It's a fun night.
8 guys, 35 dudes, dusty, dirty industrial unit on the industrial units of New York City. My God. Anyone have a film, a camcorder? What am I saying? Welcome to 1985. Anybody have their phone out?
Absolutely not, Mike. That's like, if you're the guy taking pictures at a bachelor party, you're ostracized from that group of friends. Am I right?
Oh, 100%. Listen, I went out recently and I was fine, but I had a few shots of tequila and I was stumbling a little bit and some little prick pulls his phone out. I'm like, what the hell are you doing? And he's like filming. He had to be told in a very polite, pleasant way, in the nice, gentlemanly way that only I could do, but still I'm like, brother, come on, man. What the fuck you doing? You don't do that. There's no place for a phone. Yes, it's the end of the night. We're all walking home and I've stumbled off a curb. What? You want to film that and show all your mates on Instagram what a nerd you are? Because anyone that pulls their phone out, you're a dick, you're a nerd, and I don't know. Yeah, you're an idiot. You're an idiot. Leave the phones out.
This didn't happen to be at UFC Shenzhen, did it?
No, it wasn't. But why do you say that?
Because we got an email in from I'll tell you about it off air. We got an email in from a listener who said he might have cited you in UFC in Shenzhen.
Yeah. Well, it was in Shenzhen, and what he might have been referring to, because I was sitting down on the side of the road because my knee. I know I spoke about it on the last show. My knee was giving me a ton of trouble that night, and it is now. I've got to get a knee replacement, which I'm very bummed out about. And I've got degenerative arthritis in my good knee as well, which has caused my meniscus to rip. So my knees aren't good. So I've been on the couch all day. Although I did just work out, I body beasted it. I still got my sets in. Still did what I needed to do. Anyway, back to the show. What else we got?
Peloton. I watched your Instagram story.
I did my 30 minutes on the Peloton this morning. That's right. Whilst preparing for Mexico City next weekend. 2 birds, 1 stone. I'm a very busy man. Cannot afford to just dedicate to one thing. Peloton, look at the fights. Look at the fights, Peloton. Ride the bike. Harness the good energy. Block the bad. What else we got? What's going on?
Well, this is an interesting fight. Just got booked to headline UFC Moscow. Alexander Volkov versus Junior Dos Santos. Two of the big heavyweight contenders. I think JDS is coming off a loss over this summer to Francis Ngannou, and then Volkov obviously was winning like 90% of the fight against Derek Lewis at on the undercard of the McGregor fight. And that was his last appearance in the cage, I think, in last October. But two top 5 ranked heavyweights fighting it out.
I mean, yeah, it's a great card. It's a great fight. It's a really good fight. But I'm looking at the notes here, Harrington, that I've mentally prepared for. It's not in the notes. Listen, we need to talk off the air. You can't go freestyle. You can't go radical on me. You can't, that Harrington's out of control. What are you doing? This is not in the notes.
It was from the last set of notes.
All right. This podcast is supported by Wix.com. There is a better way to build website for your clients. With Wix, harness the latest web technology and innovative design tools to deliver professional results. You start with a blank page and you design the layout that you want. Grow their business with a custom online store, out-of-the-box booking system, and a live chat. Publish it in a click and make edits fast. Harrington, our beautiful website that was all your work. Tell us about the process. Tell us how easy it was.
All you have to do is look at it, and you can see how awesome it is. We have all of the latest episodes up there, all the latest videos for the episodes, highlights, and then right at the bottom, you have my blog there where I've been keeping track of the BYM coin. All of that was built by me, and I am functionally illiterate, right? Like I have a hard time finishing tweets. So like for me to be able to go in and do this, it was so easy. Drag and drop everything. I want to replace something. It's 2 clicks. I grab the YouTube link, boom. Now a new highlights up there. I want to replace the video. Same process. The blogs are super easy to write, and the everything else updates itself. So it looks like I'm doing all this work and you guys get off my back when really Wix is just awesome.
Well, exactly. There you go. I mean, listen. And it is a great website, and we bust your balls. You did a good job with it. Of course, Wix does make it easy. So if you've got a business, you got something you want to promote, something you want to sell, you need a website in this day and age, guys. Simple as that. So get started on your website today. Go to wix.com/believe. Get yourself a beautiful website, get more business, all the rest of it. You need a website in this day and age. So if you want it, wix.com/believe. Okay, where were we?
Wonderboy returns to the Octagon against rising prospect Vincente Luque. You called one of his fights recently, Mike. What do you think about that?
Yeah, Luque is great. Obviously, last time we saw him was against everyone's favorite dude, Mike Perry. Yeah, Mike Perry. Great fight. Amazing fight. Wonderboy. Who doesn't like Wonderboy? Stephen Wonderboy Thompson is an absolute true gentleman. Fantastic. A fantastic, what's the word I'm looking for? Influence for a lot of people that watch fights. Because a lot of people that watch fights, they might think these guys have to be a badass. You have to talk shit. You have to do all this type of stuff. But there's Wonderboy. He literally is one of the nicest, most polite, respectful people you'll ever meet. And inside the Octagon, fights his ass off. Always fun to watch. Very, very fun style, of course. Got knocked out in his last fight against Pettis, but I never saw the fight. Apparently, he was doing well. Was he doing well?
Oh, yeah. He was dominating the majority of that fight, keeping Pettis on his back foot. And it's why a lot of people, didn't think. It's why a lot of people were impressed with Pettis, because normally when he fights off his back foot, he loses like he did in the Nate Diaz fight. He was able to turn it around in the Wonderboy fight. But
So go ahead. Sorry.
Well, no, I mean, if you have anything more on the fight, please. I was just going to talk about the rest of the card.
Yeah, well, that's what I was going to say. So, I mean, of course, Pettis, Wonderboy Thompson. No, sorry, Pettis. What am I saying? I'm looking at the notes. Wonderboy Thompson versus Vincente Luque. Jeez Louise. That's a great fight. And then main event, we got the BMF title, which, by the way, they're actually doing a belt for that. The BMF belt. Oh, yeah. That's crazy. I love it. It's great. But I'm not sure, like, if I was still competing, if I was still active on the roster, I'd have something to say about that being the BMF belt. I'm like, hold on, who gets to decide that they're fighting for the baddest motherfucker belt? Okay, because I'm pretty sure I'd be the baddest motherfucker, right? And I'd have something to say because the baddest motherfucker belt doesn't have weight classes, okay, right? But just because Nate Diaz and Masvidal, we love Masvidal, by the way, who loves Young Dream, he is going to come on the podcast soon. Just because they proclaim that they're East Coast, West Coast gangsters and now they get to fight for the BMF, it's like, no. I want a piece of that action. Now, Dana said it's one and done, but, I think you got to defend that belt.
Is that? Oh, that's like a fan's take on what it's going to look like?
Yeah.
Awesome.
I mean, it's fun. It's great. And they're actually going to, do you know what? I would think that the BMF belt, if they do it like that fan suggested there, and it looks like a regular UFC belt, but it has BMF instead of UFC, that's going to be worth a fortune one day.
Oh, yeah.
Think about that, because there's a lot of UFC belts in circulation. Now, the new ones are obviously much more rare. They're more expensive. There's more artwork gone into them. And every time you defend it, they put a ruby in the belt, which is a really cool move. Although, in the old days, every time you defended the belt, you got a new belt. I mean, what would you rather have? A belt with like some little tiny rubies in, signifying defenses, or a number, one could say a plethora of belts?
Well, yeah, I mean, like somebody like, obviously Demetrius Johnson with his 10 belts all lined up to the point where Dana didn't want to give him a new one. That was pretty damn funny. Yes, but it does make having that one with like the 8 rubies in it the most priceless belt. You get what I'm saying? Like, it makes the one belt that you have worth that much more because there's so many fewer in circulation.
Yeah, 100%, but I'd still rather have 8 belts. You know what I mean? Because then you could give one to your kids. You could hand one down. You could maybe do a charity auction one day. You know what I mean? Or like when you're dying on your deathbed, you can say, I give this to you. You're always my favorite. There you go, son. You could do whatever. You could give some away. You could afford to have one lost. You never know. You might lose one. My belts, I've got 2. When I had my house done up, they totally gutted the house, and there was 2 belts in the house. And I don't know why. The belts were on the bed in the downstairs bedroom. And then I walked in one day and they weren't there. And I was like, holy shit, have the belts been stolen? And they hadn't been stolen, but the belts had been taken and put underneath the bed, face down. So the metal was like on the floor and there was dust and crap and shit flying through the air everywhere. And when I pulled the leather for the belt to slide out, and it's all scratched to pieces. The gold is just, it looks a mess. And I was fuming. I was very, very annoyed, but I'm over it now. I'm over it. It's okay. It's okay, Michael. It's okay. Anyway, what else we got? What is going on? Should we talk about Justin Gaethje slagging off McGregor in a massive way?
Yeah, so let me see here if I can pull up the tweets. I know that essentially Conor McGregor asked for the rematch in Moscow. That's how this started about a week ago. Right after the Khabib fight. Justin Gaethje said, you're an embarrassment. You're an embarrassment to your family. He really went personal with it. Some people started responding, and Gaethje just stuck to the party line. Yes, I've been knocked out. Yes, whatever's happened. I'm not campaigning for a fight. Fuck that guy. He just does not like McGregor for whatever reason. He was pressed on it during media day yesterday before his fight with Cowboy Cerrone, and I think we have a clip. Brian, if you want to bring it up.
If the little Irish fuck wants to come back, then I'm right here, man. I'm the perfect guy to bring him back.
Why did you decide to go after Conor so hard on social media?
Again, I will never stray from the truth. That's the truth. There's nothing else to it. Had nothing to do with fighting, nothing to do with wanting to get a fight. I call it, he wants to write some bullshit. I mean, facts are facts. I mean, you cannot represent yourself in the public eye like that and expect your child to respect what you do. You are an influence. You are a hero to your children, and you are a fool if you think that they are not going to follow in your footsteps.
We saw earlier that there were reports earlier this year that you and him were potentially going to fight for his hand injury. How close did you?
He's the only one that knew about that. I didn't know. I'm ready to fight. After I seen him punch a guy, old guy. I got a human services major, social work. I wanted to do social work. Being here is just a circumstance of my life. I've worked since I was 4, and I was like, I want to try fighting. I won 25 fights in a row. I was fighting Eddie Alvarez on a pay-per-view. I want to be a social worker. So to see him treat people like that, to see him take a phone, even before he takes a phone and smashes it on the ground, to see him walk around with his chest in the air, you do not Do not represent yourself like that. I will never respect you.
Justin, you just mentioned Eddie Alvarez. You and him used to talk about, who was the most violent man. Now David White's going to introduce the BMF title. Would you want to see them actually create more like kind of fun titles to compete on?
Yeah.
No, I want one title. That's the world championship.
All right. Yeah. I get it. I mean, I understand what he's saying. And I mean, listen, I don't think there's a human being on earth that doesn't get it. I mean, you can't disagree with what he's saying there. I mean, it's scathing. It's pretty scathing. Although he says he's not looking for a fight with McGregor. That's the only part I'm skeptical about, because he I mean, listen, the fact that he wants to be a social worker, I never knew that. And he kind of stumbled in this by accident, and then he won 25 fights in a row, and he's like, well, fuck, I'm doing good. I'm making money. I'm going to carry on doing this. And it's fun, and the money's great. Not to mention the fact, I think has he won a fight of the night bonus in every single fight he's had in the UFC so far?
Yeah, he's actually one of the highest paid fighters over the last couple of years, because not only is he getting a great base to his contract, but he's gotten the $50,000 bonus in all 5 of his UFC fights. So that's
which is incredible
right there.
Yeah, which is incredible. I mean, that speaks to his performances. And his fights are great. Everyone loves the fights. But yeah, going back to the McGregor thing, I mean, yeah, I agree. I mean, he is. Listen, I think even McGregor knows. Because if you look on his tweets, his Twitter feed lately, he's definitely on the PR offensive, isn't he? You know what I mean? Yeah. What did he say yesterday? Have a blessed day, guys. And then a love heart. And then he's on the PR offensive hard.
Was that him calling out for the rematch of Max Holloway? Have a blessed day?
Harrington, wash your mouth out with soap and water. Jesus Christ. I mean, listen, maybe you're right. Maybe you picked up on it, but I think you're looking far too much into this. I think you're looking a little too much into it, or maybe you're not. Maybe you're not. Maybe you're right, but I doubt it. I think that was just him saying to everybody, look, I'm a good person. I'm a nice guy. I'm coming to social media right now to just wish you all a great day. Which, come on, cut the shit. Let's go.
Well, Mike, I think the reason that he did it is because it was 9/11. That was like a pretty big day in American history.
Well, it is a pretty big day, and it's a very tragic day. And yeah, I mean, do you think that's why he did it? Because, okay, fair enough. All right. All right. Well, you made me look bad.
Your response maybe a little less than tasteful.
What was mine?
You wish everybody a blessed day too, if I remember correctly.
But that was because of 9/11. I was like, shit, man, I'm feeling a lot of love, a lot of emotions in the air, and I just want everyone to have a blessed day. There was no ulterior motive to mine. And I was not responding to anybody. I was literally just saying, guys, all of you, female, male, man, woman, boy, girl, whoever you are, you guys out there, I hope you have a blessed day. That's all I was saying. No, you're looking too much into this stuff. Anyway, Gaetjhe. I don't know. I think he's looking for a fight with McGregor. And I think if he beats Donald Cerrone, I think he's got a pretty good chance of that. I think that's a pretty good segue. Go ahead.
Well, I mean, people have been calling for that for quite some time. Obviously, there was the near fight book between Cerrone and McGregor sometime over this summer. They couldn't make it work because they wanted to make it a co-main event, not a main event. But now that we're seeing this precedent set by Nate Diaz and Jorge Masvidal in the ESPN generation for them to put up a non-title fight as the main event, it does tell me down the line we could be seeing a comeback for Conor McGregor against the winner of this fight. I think it makes sense.
Well, it does. I mean, for one, the fight's amazing, and I'll be watching it at home from the luxury of my couch. So I'm very excited for that one. Cowboy Cerrone, Justin Gaetjhe. I mean, Cerrone, we've talked about this before. I think it's fair to say that at one point, not too long ago, it looked like his best days were behind him. But this year, ever since he had his child, his son, Danger, he's found a new flow. Now, of course, the last fight against Ferguson didn't go too well. He lost that fight, but he was doing okay to start. Prior to that, the fight against Ali Quinta, that was an incredible performance. And we all know Raging Al is as good as they come. Al's an incredible fighter, and Cerrone, was by far the better man on the night. Just beat him to the punch, the kick. He was by far the better fighter. And then prior to that, Alexander Hernandez, who was undefeated coming into it, he talked all that shit. And I thought, crap, I didn't fancy Cerrone's chances on that either. And he showed everybody that he's not being put out to pasture yet, that he's still got a lot to give to this sport. So, against Gaetjhe, it's a weird fight because Gaetjhe is a really, really good wrestler. I think he was a state champion multiple years. If I'm getting that wrong, I apologize. But he does have legit wrestling credentials, likes to knock people out, excellent striker. Doesn't use his wrestling, though. Really, really doesn't use his wrestling at all. And he doesn't move his head. He does take a lot of shots. He's very hittable. He's very, very hittable. Now, that's why he's getting performance bonuses every time he fights, because he can get hit and he does have a chin and he's willing to stand in the pocket. But I think it's a dangerous fight for both guys. I mean, how do you see this one going down?
Well, this is very interesting. I mean, Gaetjhe has sworn that he's going to use his wrestling more and more after both of his losses, both to Eddie Alvarez and Dustin Poirier. Actually, after the Michael Johnson fight, he said he needs to use his wrestling more because he took a ton of damage in that one. Interestingly enough, in the James Vick fight, he was able to get out of there inside the first round with a KO punch, and then same thing with the Edson Barboza fight. So to me, what he's been talking about leading up to this is that he's gotten better at avoiding those big shots, at avoiding taking a ton of damage. He knows he's still tough as hell, but he doesn't need to prove anything to anyone, and he's just trying to get out of there as quick as he can. Cowboy Cerrone's a way harder guy to put away. You know what I mean? Like James Vick has that kind of reputation. He keeps his chin up in the air. He uses tall man defense. Somebody like Gaetjhe, you can throw those big looping shots with power. Doesn't surprise me. Edson Barboza, if you can get in his kicking range and really put it on him, apply the kind of pressure that only Gaetjhe can apply, that's a recipe for success. I don't know how he does that against Cerrone without utilizing his number 7, actually, in the NCAA's collegiate wrestling was his biggest accomplishment.
Okay. All right. Next time you have a fact that makes me look stupid and the conversation's passed by like 5 minutes, don't feel the need to bring it up. Just let it slide. Let it slide, No, I'm just looking here. And so I'm looking at the fight. When Justin Gaetjhe fought Dustin Poirier, it was at Glendale, Arizona. And I was there. I was working the fight card. And in that arena where the fight took place is where Gaetjhe had wrestled many, many times. And I think I call bullshit on what you're saying there, because I feel like he said he won a tournament in that arena when he was at college or high school. And we spoke about him. Go ahead. I see you with your hand up there.
Well, he probably won a number of tournaments there. He was a 2-time finalist and a 2-time Arizona State champion in high school. Yes, I was talking about him at the collegiate level. So you're right.
Whoa, baby boy. I didn't specify college. I didn't specify high school. I said I believe he was a state champion. You felt the need to go on the corrective offensive, okay? You wanted to undermine me. You wanted to make me look stupid. You wanted to sell the world that Harrington knows his shit, and you do know your shit with your little laptop there. I'm freestyling here. I got no computer other than the one I'm using. If I use it, then you can't see me, okay? The phone is not a reliable source of information when I'm trying to look at a screen and podcast. But you just had to get one on me there, didn't you, Harrington? You just had to make me look stupid.
So, no, all I was doing, Mike, was explaining what his wrestling credentials are, and I am agreeing with you that they are top-notch. That's when he fought, he actually got brought in to fight against Donald Cerrone when Cerrone was working on his wrestling for the Melvin Gillard fight back in 2012 when Gaetjhe was still, I think, in his 5th pro fight, and that's when, he talks about how Cerrone was able to knock him out in training. So, yeah, he's been known for his wrestling. He's a world-class wrestler at 157 pounds, and nobody's arguing with that.
No, for sure. I know. I'm just messing with you. I've forgotten that. So they trained with each other back in the day, and Cerrone knocked him out in training. Is that correct?
Yeah.
Wow. Okay. Well, that makes it interesting because, certainly. What we were just discussing there, Justin Gaetjhe is a good wrestler. Is he going to use his wrestling? I remember when he fought Dustin Poirier, we did the weigh-in show. He came up on the desk, and I spoke to him there. I said, listen, Justin, you're an incredible wrestler. Are you going to use the wrestling? And he said, yeah, I'm going to. That's the game plan. And he didn't. He lost that fight to Dustin Poirier. Didn't really try for any takedowns. Again, incredible fight of the night performance, but he just got outworked and he got stopped in round 4. Now, because he has been knocked out against Donald Cerrone, I think we will see some wrestling. Because even though that was a long time ago, I think you said it was 2012, so 7 years ago, he was still kind of early in his MMA career. Donald Cerrone, he's been around forever. He's, a true veteran of the game. Even still, it was a long time ago. That's going to leave a lasting effect. And they probably had boxing gloves on, and they would have had shin pads on. I don't know if it was a head kick, a punch, or whatever. But fact remains, he got knocked out in training. He does not want to get knocked out against Donald Cerrone again. So I reckon we're going to see some wrestling here. It's a great fight. I don't know. Do we have to pick on this? Have we got BYM coins on this or what?
Well, you have 5 left if you want to use them on this fight.
All right. Well, I'm gonna put all 5 on Justin Gaethje. I love me some Donald Cerrone. I'm a big fan of Donald Cerrone, but I think, I'm going to give it to Gaethje. I mean, he knocked out Edson Barboza in round 1. That's unreal. He knocked out James Vick in round 1. Very, very impressive. So he's found his groove recently. Hold on, though. That's the problem. He's just knocked 2 people out in the first round. Now, when you do that, and he's knocked people out before, of course, but these were emphatic knockouts. When you knock somebody out like that, you fall into a trap. I did it myself. I dropped Anderson Silva with a left hook. I dropped and knocked out Luke Rockhold with the left hook. At the post-fight press conference, I said, you can start calling me Left Hook Larry. I was just having a joke about that. I could tell you the story of the real Left Hook Larry. He's a guy from Clitheroe. He sent me a message kicking off saying, you fucking prick, you stole my fucking nickname. But in my very next fight against Dan Henderson in Manchester, I was looking for the left hook because I believed in the left hook for good reason, but you fall in love with it and you hear about it all the time. But until you experience it, it's a real thing. So maybe because Cerrone knocked him out and he's knocked 2 people out in his last 2 fights, maybe he's going to go out there and think, you know what? I'm going to fucking knock you out. And if he does that, that's a dangerous game plan. If he uses his wrestling, here we go. If he uses his wrestling, I'll put 5 BYM coins on Gaethje. Okay, there you go. If he doesn't wrestle, disclaimer, bets are off. I've got 5 coins, Harrington. Have a fucking heart, okay? Have a heart.
All right. So in the oddest gambling proposal of all time, if Justin Gaethje comes out and knocks him out in the first round and never goes for a takedown, you don't get any BYM coin.
I still win.
That what?
Harrington, listen, here's a guy that's obviously never gambled very much. Do you frequent the casino? I mean, I don't frequent it, but have you gambled at a casino, played a bit of blackjack?
Every now and then, yeah.
Have you ever gambled with someone and you're playing a little bit of blackjack and you're having a good night and you seem to can't lose and you're winning, the chips are coming in and you feel like fucking James Bond and you're like, this is great. But then the buddy next to you that you went to the casino with is losing every single time. And he goes, you know what? I'm done. I'm out. I've lost too much money. Have you never ever just taken a couple of chips and just slid a couple of chips his way and said, hey, buddy, come on, you play. Try and win it back. And if you win, you can give me the money. Right? I'm asking for a little bit of the same treatment here, okay? Mike, I'm down to 5 BYM coins, motherfucker, okay? Have a heart, Harrington. We gave you the 1,000. Yeah, in fact, I demand 500 BYM coins.
What?
I demand them.
Mike, you're crippling me. I'll give you 100, no problem. 5?
50. Give me 50 coins.
Okay, and I'll give you 50, so you're ahead of Lewis.
Right, I got 55 coins, and now I'm going to start taking it seriously, okay? Because I've been messing around. I've been blasé. I've been, just throwing caution to the wind and messing with the latest upstart in cryptocurrency, throwing the BYM coins around like they're nothing. I'm going to give them the respect that they deserve, and I'm going to play tactically, okay? So I got 55 BYM coins. Geez, the main event's a tough one to go with, though. Very, very tough one to go with. I'm going to lean towards Gaethje, though. I'm going to put 55 coins on Justin Gaethje. Boom.
Oh, Mike, I can't. Here's my problem. I can't disagree with you here. Justin Gaethje does have 2 first-round knockouts in his last 2 fights, and we've seen Donald Cowboy Cerrone get first-round knockout by Rafael dos Anjos, Darren Till, and then recently, in the Tony Ferguson fight, he took it in the second round. Oh, also Anthony Pettis was able to knock out Cerrone in the first round. He does have kind of a track record, right? And this is not to insult the man by any stretch of the imagination, but he tends to be a bit of a slow starter at times. Against somebody like Justin Gaethje, who can come forward, put that kind of pressure on you, there's no shot. Obviously, since the birth of his son, since Danger's come into the world, Dad Cerrone has been a totally different fighter, coming forward, swinging hard at the beginning of fights. Justin Gaethje's the much younger man. He does have the wrestling he can fall back on. It's tough for me to find a way for Cerrone to win other than just dragging Gaethje into deep water. We've seen Alvarez is able to get the finish on him in the 3rd, Poirier in the 4th. If you get this fight into the 4th or 5th round, is this not Cowboy Cerrone's fight to lose?
Yeah, but the thing is, as we said earlier, Gaethje does get hit a lot. And as you said, since his son has been around, Cerrone is a different fighter. He looks like Cerrone in his prime. So if I'm Donald Cerrone, you utilize a lot of footwork, a lot of movement early on to try and frustrate Gaethje. And as you said, pull him into the later rounds. And in the later rounds, if he starts to slow down, then Cerrone starts putting his combinations together and gets a stoppage in rounds, late 3, maybe 4 or 5. As we've seen, as you said, other people have done. That's the game plan. But he just starts slow. But still, 55 coins, BYM coins, Justin Gaethje. That's my pick. I can't wait for the fight, though. It'll be fight of the night. I guarantee it, because both those guys bring it every time. And if I'm wrong, then I apologize to Donald Cerrone in advance, because it's one of those things. It could go either way. It really could. But I think Gaethje, I probably lean towards Gaethje in this one.
Okay. Well, if you want to see where everybody's BYM coin is going, head to bympod.com. Click on the blog. You'll see my little piece there at the beginning of the week, as well as everybody's picks for every single one of the fights. And while you're there, if you'd like, hit the subscribe button. You can get all of our YouTube videos, as well as everything we have on iTunes. The latest 15 episodes, always free on YouTube and iTunes, wherever you get your podcasts. Or if you want to catch every episode of the show, all 170, I believe, head to gasdigitalnetwork.com. Use the promo code BYM. Get yourself a 14-day free trial. Check everything out ad-free in HD. Boom.
Wow. I mean, how much can you suck up to Lewis in 2 minutes? I mean, did he text you? Be honest. Has he texted you and said, hey, make sure you put the plug in for Gas Digital?
No, I just saw we're at about an hour. It's the perfect time to drop it in. I mean, I'm coming for your segue title, doggy.
Yeah, listen, I get it. You're a company man. God bless you. And rightly so. It is about an hour. Do we have any questions?
Yes, we do.
All right, let's do a couple of questions, then we'll wrap this one up and we'll go about our lives. What we got?
I think if you want to start with the video question.
Oh.
Bisping, please could you give us your best Yoel Romero impression? Also, Harrington is a porn addict.
Oh, and hold on. Who was that?
That was Jason.
Jason from?
Doesn't say.
Yeah, because I was trying to figure out his accent. Go ahead, Brian.
His name is Jordan.
Sorry.
Jordan. I was trying to figure out if he was English or not. I wasn't sure. Did you pick up an English vibe from Jordan?
Well, the way he said porn, I thought New Zealand.
You want to hear it again?
Yeah, come on. Let's do it one more, because he was quick and he was kind of an interesting caveman-looking specimen.
Bisping,
yeah.
Please could you give us your best Yoel Romero impression? Also, Harrington is a porn addict.
Porn addict. Bisping, could you please give us your best Yoel impersonation? Also, Harrington is a porn addict. Yeah.
I see you, Jordan. I see you. You talk about Harrington. You say this to Harrington. I say, I love you.
That's about it. I mean, everyone's heard me do it a million times, but what I want to talk about, where is he getting the information from that you're a porn addict? Hold on. Hand on heart. Are you a porn addict, Harrington?
Define addict.
Well, I mean, multiple times per day.
Maybe.
Oh my God! Stop it! Save it for the bachelor party. We don't want to hear this. We do not listen. This podcast will hit an all-time new low if we break down Harrington's porn schedule. Okay, not going to happen.
Twice a day is healthy. There's nothing wrong with twice a day.
I mean, no, you're a virile young buck by all accounts. My God, look at those. There's some solid numbers.
1 in the morning, 1 before bed. It's a great way to start and end your day.
It's not bad. It's not bad. Good for you. The built-in sleeping pill. Bravo.
Yeah.
Do we have another question?
Timothy Perry asks, question for Mike and Louis J. What is the biggest fight the UFC can make right now? In my eyes, it's got to be McGregor versus GSP. It makes perfect sense as well. If GSP wins, he can walk away and doesn't have a title, but has enhanced his legacy. If McGregor wins, it sets up a title fight against the winner of Tony versus Khabib. Other contenders to consider may include Jones versus Brock, Jones versus Stipe, Diaz versus McGregor 3. Oh, and obviously the long and awaited fight between the undefeated pound-for-pound best in the world, Luis J. Gomez, versus an old man with a dodgy knee and his hands tied together, Michael the Count Bisping. Keep up the great work.
Thank you very much for the question and the input, and it's going into way too much depth and analysis on the fights. Biggest fight that the UFC can book right now is a pay-per-view at an American top team, Colby Covington against Dustin Poirier and Jorge Masvidal. Okay, that will set the world on fire. Other than that, I think probably Khabib GSP. Khabib versus, I mean, listen, McGregor's always there. McGregor versus GSP. McGregor versus anyone, to be honest. You know, but although I did see an article today, let me look for it. There was an article today saying, has everybody got over McGregor? Did you see that as the time passed? I mean, what was it? I forget what the headline was.
Yeah,
Did you see it?
I saw something today, I think it was on Reddit, about McGregor's dwindling fan base, especially in Ireland, and how like the country's kind of lost taste for him.
Yeah, that's right. And I saw something as well. Some guy did some review and some talk about it. Yeah, you know, I mean, listen, it is what it is. You never the flavor of the month forever. You know, you go up, you go down. All he's got to do is come back and fight, put on a good performance and keep his nose clean for a bit. And people forget. People are very fickle, certainly in sports. In sports, it's what have you done for me lately? You know, you lose a couple of fights, people lose faith. You win a few more fights. And as I say, keep your nose clean. Don't be assaulting old dudes in bars, and people can, you know, they quickly forget, you know. So, but going back to the question, probably, I mean, if you take McGregor out of the equation, Khabib GSP would be the biggest, I think. I mean, what do you think?
Yeah, I mean, it's hard to argue. I mean, like you said, you know, I think McGregor has to be in any fight considered to be biggest in MMA. That's just how it works. That idea, though, as much as I hate to admit it, I think Brock versus Jones would be up there. I mean, you pull in, just like anytime GSP comes back, you get 1 million Canadian fans. Anytime Brock comes back, you're going to get 1 million pay-per-view buys from the WWE casuals. Versus John Jones, too. I mean, like, he could use a massive pay-per-view like that.
Yeah, I like where your head's at. Well, I don't like where it's at. I mean, it's a good suggestion, but also at the same time, I want to throw up, you know. But Brock Lesnar, he's asking for the biggest MMA fight in the world, and you're pulling out a guy banned for steroids, hasn't won a fight in years, hasn't fought in years, and you're bringing him out. Now, you're right. You know, I mean, but okay, if you want to go down this fantasy matchup, what about Eddie Murphy versus bloody Dave Chappelle? Do you know what I mean? We're talking current roster, okay? Current roster, Harrington. But no, you're right. That's actually a pretty solid one. John Jones, Brock Lesnar. That would be big. It would be big. You know,
I mean,
you could go The Rock versus Brock Lesnar. I mean, you know, let's keep it in the realms of current fighters.
Well, I mean, there's 1 million out there if you want to go down that route. I mean, Floyd Mayweather has to be attached to anything. But, I mean, for my money, though, like, the fight that's going to make the most new fans, the fight that's going to be the biggest for the UFC going forward, has to be Khabib versus Tony. It's Khabib versus Tony, man. I mean, those two are going to put on a hell of a fight no matter where it goes. It's going to be a bloody, awesome affair. And, like, that's the thing where, you know, like, Tony fighting Khabib, that's a totally different style. Anytime a new fan watches, like, Tony Ferguson fought on the last McGregor versus Khabib card, that made a lot of new Tony Ferguson fans, right? I was a big believer that anytime McGregor was fighting in his prime, Robbie Lawler should have been on that card, because you'll become a Robbie Lawler fan if you see Robbie Lawler fight. Same thing with you.
Yep.
You know, like there's guys you can make stars off of those bigger pay-per-views. And this, to me, Khabib is a big enough name now where, fuck it, dude, just give him the Tony Ferguson fight. It sells big enough as it is, and it'll make it'll make more real UFC fans going forward.
Yeah, no. Listen, you're talking a lot of sense there. I think at this point as well, Khabib versus anybody, really. I mean, the video came out this week, or today, pardon me, Khabib meeting with Vladimir Putin and the leader, I don't know if he's a prime minister or whatever, but the president of Dagestan and Vladimir Putin. I mean, that's, it's pretty epic. He's done that before as well. I think it's not the first time he's had an audience with Vladimir Putin. So, I mean, he's certainly mixing in the right circles. He's the most famous Muslim athlete. He's carrying himself with absolute class, and he's truly dominant inside the octagon. So yeah, I think right now Khabib is closing the gap on McGregor. Now, Khabib doesn't bring the excitement that McGregor does. Love him or hate him, you can't deny the fact that McGregor brings a lot of excitement. But Khabib, he brings a different energy. It's a different energy. It's an intimidation factor simply because he's so good. And he just walks in, he's cool, calm, and collected, and he gets the job done. So he's a scary animal inside there. He really is. But yeah, he's closing the gap. But okay, all right, that's not bad. Should we do one more question? And then we'll call it a day? We got one more?
Yeah, this is from Desperado. I don't know anything else. JMDES 1989. So that might be his Twitter. Well, I may have missed it, but did you guys talk about the Felder versus Edson fight? Do you think Edson got robbed? The takedown was nice in round 2, but I felt like he took more damage than he dished. Talking about Paul Felder versus Edson Barboza, the co-main event at UFC 242.
Yeah, that's right. We never really spoke about it, and I appreciate the question because, in fact, I did want to talk about that, and it's an interesting topic. Listen, the fight with Barboza and Felder, great fight. Good war, back and forth, very even fight, and Felder got the decision. Now, I'll be honest, when I looked at it, I thought maybe Barboza had it. When Felder got it, I wasn't surprised. I wasn't shocked. If you'd have asked me in there and then, I'd have probably said Barboza. But if you made an argument for Felder, I would have listened to it because it was a close fight. It was a really close fight. And I worked with Paul Felder. He's a great guy, and I'm really happy for him. It was a tremendous fight. Both guys should be really proud of themselves. And when it's a close fight, that's the way it goes. I mean, Dana says it all the time. When you let it go to the judges, you never know what's going to happen, okay? Now, nobody lets it go to the judges. When you're fighting the best people in the world, it's not easy. But when it is a close fight, and that was a close fight, you can't be upset when it doesn't go your way. You have to be a man about it. Now, I'm not shitting on Edson Barboza, okay, when I say you got to be a man about it, but you do. You've just got to say, you know what? I thought I won that, but whatever. It is what it is. I've been on the end of it. Many people have been on the end of decisions that they felt they should have won. It came out this week. Edson Barboza is officially appealing the decision. Did you see that?
I did, but when is the first or last time you've ever seen that work?
Well, this is what this was going to be my whole point. I mean, I get it. I get it that he's upset because when you lose a fight, of course, there's a financial ramification as well. You lose a lot of money. Who knows what it is? Sometimes it could be hundreds of thousands of dollars. It could be 50,000. It could be 100. Whatever it is, it's a lot of money, right? You lose your money. You lose your win bonus. You go down in the rankings. You perhaps lose a title shot. And, then personally as well, inside your mind, it fucking sucks. Losing sucks. But as I said, you've just got to take it, dust yourself off, and be a man about it. Appealing a decision, I don't think I've ever seen it overturned. I don't think I've ever seen it work. If you're going to go down the official route and, get lawyers involved, that's going to cost you a lot of money. All you're going to do is generate a lot of bad blood, ill will, and you're not going to achieve it. And in the public perception, you look like a sore loser. Now, Paul Felder came out this week and he responded and he showed the compy stats, the strike stats. And if you look at the strike stats, it looks like Paul Felder won. Now, that doesn't always paint a fair story. Sometimes some of those shots I don't know if it was, but some of those shots could be when you're on top of someone, you give you some little shots to the body or whatever. Sometimes one shot could do a lot more damage than 10 shots, But still, on paper, when you look at the numbers, it looks like Paul Felder won. And that just goes to show, that just displays what I'm saying. It was a really close fight. Barboza, massive fan. Love watching him fight. One of the most exciting fighters in the game. Some of the best kicks you'll see. And he's had a tremendous career. I don't think he's doing himself any favors by going down this road.
Well, Felder, his exact quote when he came out, he said, "It's spitting in my face a little bit." After the fight, Felder did nothing but praise Edson Barboza, called him a world-class martial artist, and he admitted the decision could have gone either way. So he was very happy to get it. But, I mean, yeah, agreed. If anyone was to contest the decision against you, wouldn't you take that extremely personally?
Yeah, I don't know if I'd take it personally, but I understand what Paul Felder's saying. Listen, at the end of the day, the decision's final. It is what it is, and it wasn't a robbery. I would like to know what grounds he's trying to get them to officially appeal it. I mean, if on the numbers, it goes in Felder's favor, so he's got no argument there, right? To the layman just watching, it was a close fight, right? And the judges, sometimes the judges get it wrong. Sometimes the two judges will give it 30-27 to one guy, right? And the other judge will give it 30-27 to the other. In a situation like that, you got to scratch your head and think, what the fuck was this judge watching? But this wasn't a case of one of those, okay? Beauty is in the eye of the beholder, all right? They might have saw it in Felder's favor. They might have saw it in Barboza's favor. On this night, the judges, they score it round by round. At the end of every round, they say who they think won that round, 10-9 or 10-8 or a 9-9, or a 10-10. Right? 10-9, 10-9, 10-9, whichever way they scored it. And then they tally it up. Barboza lost. Simple as that. Close fight. Hold your head up high, right? Get better. Get him next time. Maybe have the rubber match because they're 1-on-1 now. Get him that way. That's the way to get revenge. I just don't feel that Barboza is doing himself any favors by going down this road. I'm not talking shit about Barboza. I love Barboza and his entire team and his translator and everybody. They're all really, really good guys. But I just feel like, I don't know. It's kind of weak. You know what I mean? It's kind of weak. But if that sounds like a strong word, I apologize. If Barboza hears this and is offended, I apologize because I'm a big fan. Just let it go, man. Get it. Ask for the rubber match. That's how you do it. You say, you know what? Yeah. You said, you know what? I think that was bullshit. I think I should have won that. Dana, Paul, can we do this one again, please?
I mean, between the two of them, it's 2 3-round fights that both went to a decision. I think it makes the most sense in the world. Give us a 5-round fight. Let that headline some fight night in, Philadelphia, wherever, I mean, they just went to Abu Dhabi. They can clearly draw all over the world. Give us that 5-round fight between these two, and let's figure out a winner once and for all.
I think that's a fantastic suggestion. 100%, that could be a great main event of a fight night. One of the smaller shows. Well, I don't mean a smaller show, just one of the fight nights, not a pay-per-view. That's a solid main event. A lot of people want to see it. A lot of history there. 2 great fucking fighters. And I think everyone would sign off on it. And that's the way he should handle this. He should say, okay, that was bullshit. I feel I was robbed. Let's do it again. ASAP. Let's not wait a few years this time. Let's wait a few months. Let's do it straight away. And on that note, I think we'll call it a day. Brian Harrington, thank you very much. I know it's late at night there. Everyone listening, please go to iTunes, leave a review, tell your friends. Go to YouTube, subscribe on the YouTube page, and tell your friends, as I said before, that's the best way for us. And we hope you like the show. We appreciate you listening, and enjoy the fights. Enjoy your weekend. We'll be back on Monday. I'm not drinking, Harrington, this weekend. Well, hold on. Friday, I've got to meet. I'm doing some work for my documentary. And then we're staying over in LA. So there's a possibility. But I'm down like 6 pounds from Monday. I've lost 6 pounds. Look at this. It's svelte. I got cheekbones. You know why? Because I got a meeting tomorrow for a movie and I'm filming for the documentary. It's funny. Vanity is such a motivator. Do you know what I mean? I'm like, fuck, I'm on TV again. Let's go. But anyway, until Monday, guys, we will be back with Lewis doing our usual nonsense. Enjoy your weekend. We'll talk to you then. Bye-bye.